educational specialist, this is going to damage children's life chances for the rest of their lives. We've got an entire generation of young people who are going to be damaged by this. Is what we're planning here in terms of leadership and teaching really going to touch the sides of making up for that?
Well, of course, we've also had a huge investment in catch-up, and that is the most important. We don't want this to blight people's lives for the rest of their lives.
No, but it will. We know, but we know it will, and we haven't had a huge investment in catch-up. The vast majority of children who missed out on schooling haven't had a proper catch-up at one-to-one lessons.
But that money has been put into the system. They only went back on the 8th of March. So there is money in the system for tuition, for one-on-one tuition, for small group tuition. There's been, a big investment in catch-up, £1.5 billion so far. And we've got Sir Kevin Collins, who is looking right now at what more is required. We accept and know that there will be more required, and he's coming back with his findings as well. So we have a catch-up czar. We have somebody specifically looking at this. And as you say, the more disadvantaged peoples have probably missed out a lot more.
Well, we know not probably. They definitely have £1.5 billion, and a catch-up czar, I'm afraid, probably won't do justice to this. There'll be inquiries into all this for goodness knows how long in terms of the damage done to this generation. But let's turn our attention to other issues. Are we or are we not allowed to go on holiday to France and Spain right now?
No, they're on the amber list. So you're only allowed to go on holiday to the green list countries, which is 12 countries. So Portugal's on that, but France and Spain are not. The amber list countries are for people to go on travel for business or for specific circumstances, particular family occasions, funerals, or that kind of thing.
And where does it say that in law?
It isn't in legislation, it's guidance. There's a lot of things in the pandemic. So, a lot of things in the pandemic have really been relying on the goodwill of the great British public to do the right thing. If you come back and you don't self-isolate, then you will get a £10,000 fine. No,
that's totally right. We weren't talking about people breaking the law. Wait, let's go back. When I asked you, are we allowed to go on holiday to Spain and France? You said no. And then you said it's guidance, not legislation. So the answer is yes. We are allowed to go on holiday to Spain and France as long as we get a test before we come back, test afterwards and self-isolate. So the answer is yes, we are allowed to go on holiday.
No, if you want to be following the government guidance.
No, I don't want to be following. No, I follow the law because I'm legally obliged to follow the law. But I don't have to follow government guide. I mean, the guidance is government has guidance on how many units of alcohol we're allowed to drink. I don't know many people have been following that either, but we don't tell them they can't do it. So I just want to clarify, Minister, there is currently no law in place that stops people from going on holiday to Spain or France or anywhere else on the amber list of holiday destinations, is there?
There's not. There's guidance that says do not go.
And why should people not go to those countries when those countries are now, a lot of those EU countries, neighbours, rolling out their vaccines very successfully now, late to it, but have rolled them out now. If those countries, as is expected, as of tomorrow, Council of Ministers in Europe is going to announce that anyone from Britain and America and other countries with low rates of the virus can actually travel into the European Union countries with just the proof of their 2 vaccines, no testing, no quarantine. Why are they going to allow that and we are not going to allow that?
Well, we have, whether you're on the green list or the amber list is a question of looking at, the vaccine rate, the testing rate, the case rate, the new variants, the variants of concern, etc. So that is what we're looking at. And at the moment, there's only 12 on the green list country. Of course, many people across the country are hoping that more countries will go on the green list as we come to the next stage, which is the 21st of June. And we'll be looking very carefully at the Indian variant, which is the variant concern at the moment. But, there could be other concerns.
Could you answer my question?
What's that?
The question I asked you, why the EU is going to allow people to travel on just proof of vaccine, but not Britain?
Well, I told you what we're doing. I can't tell you what they're doing.
No, I'm asking you why do
the tourism industry that they want to probably support, and that's a very valid concern as well.
Why don't we want to support our tourism industry?
We do, which is why we're trying to get the right balance between. It doesn't do anybody any good if we end up with cases going back up again. We end up with having to, go back into restrictions. That is absolutely not where we want to be.
Why would cases go back up if, for instance, instance, my parents in their 70s who've been double vaccinated, if they travel to France and then get a test before they come back, or even if they didn't get a test before they come back, if that wasn't the requirement, but they've been double vaccinated, they go to France and then they come back from France, why would that make cases go up? Does the vaccine not work?
No, if you're double vaccinated, so far the Indian variant, which is the one of concern at the moment, it appears, we don't actually, know everything, but it appears based on looking at what's happening with that very new variant that the vaccine works. So, and that's really, really good. But we've only just, we've said that this week. We're confident because of the way that the cases are growing and where they're growing. And
there's plenty of evidence that the vaccine works on all the variants that have come forward so far. So my parents go to France, they're double vaccinated, and then they come back from France. How is that spreading the virus? Can you explain to me how that does work?
From the 17th of May, we are really saying it is much more about personal responsibility. People have to look at the guidance and, obviously take personal responsibility. There will be some people who may make those decisions, but what we're saying is we do not advise, the government does not advise that you go on holiday to those amber list countries. And the next time we'll be talking about, where are, the next restrictions, or if we can loosen the restrictions, will be for the 21st of June. So that is the next time when we'll be looking at, we'll look at the variant actually probably, and look at how the impact that's having on case rates in those countries.
Minister, 5 minutes ago, I asked you, are we allowed to go on holiday to France and Spain? And you said, no, you are only allowed to go on holiday to green list countries. Now you're saying, as of Monday, it's a matter of personal responsibility. So we've established, okay, right. So you are allowed.
Well, that's true, Julia, that is true. The government has never been there basically saying, you do that, you can't do that. This has really relied on the good common sense.
I'm so sorry.
We have had some
Minister,
but these are not in law.
Minister, the entire nation listening to this right now is just banging their heads on their desks. Until Monday, it was a criminal offence to attempt to leave the country without a reason that the government thought was acceptable, i.e. business or a loved one dying, not even ill, but dying. Since when has the government allowed us to make our own decisions about this?
Well, we have had some periods where we've had to be, we've had to be more restrictive in terms of legislation, in terms of law, in terms of enforcement and fines as well. But, we are now at a point where 2/3 of our country are vaccinated. As you said, your elderly parents, more and more people
they don't consider themselves elderly, by the way.
Hopefully we could get everybody vaccinated.
What's that got to do? What's that got to do with people having their, I think we might have lost the video there, but people making their own personal decisions, obeying the law, travelling to amber countries? Or is it, if it's personal responsibility, is it irresponsible of my parents to go on holiday?
We're advising them not to.
So is it irresponsible of them to go on holiday? I'm going to go. If France remains on the amber list, I'm going to go on holiday there anyway and then self-isolate. Is that irresponsible of me?
No, but we're advising people not to do that. But you have to take your own personal decisions. And obviously, as you say, if you will have to self-isolate, but you're not, the guidance from the government is not the reason we have green, amber and red is a reason. Red, you're not allowed to come from any of those countries unless you have a right to residency here. Amber, restricted reasons, for business or for family situations. And green, we're saying it's okay to go because we've looked at the case rates and we've looked at the vaccination rates and we've looked at the spread of variants, and we're saying those countries it's safer to go to. And those lists will evolve. They will evolve. But that is what we're saying as the government.
Government policy appears to have evolved during this interview. Minister, we'll have to leave it there. I know you've got other interviews to get to. Gillian Keegan, Minister for Apprentices.